Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome back to episode 12 of Cities Skylines. Again, I keep seeing that thing now and it looks like it's out the corner of my eye because it's round. It always looks like there's some sort of icon there with something in the middle of it, but it's just the deep space radar dish. So at the end of the last video, one thing that I said that I was going to do was try and build some industry over here, get some farming done in this land down here. It's quite far away really. It's quite a bit of space that we've got that we can use there. But we do have an awful lot of money. Where exactly is the fertile land? It is all the other side of the train line. So we have to run quite a lot of road down there to get to that. We'd also have to run quite a bit of pylons and piping and stuff. So maybe we won't worry about doing that straight away. We've still got quite a bit of... Is this industry or commerce? It should be commerce. We do have a good call for industry though. There's a lot of people want us to get some more industry going. Now industry over here is a potential problem because we don't have a huge backbone for traffic to get in and out, and in fact if we actually have a look at this slip road you can already see that there is a massive queue of traffic trying to get into the city here. Let's go ahead and see if we can alleviate that somehow. If we can split this road off and maybe get people coming in this way. You'll find that the AI will completely ignore it. It often does. You often give it another way of getting into the city and it's just like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. I'm just going to go take the congested route. So you can't always get it to work the way that you want. All of these roads are getting completely clogged. If we look down here, something's tried to turn around, but yeah, this is backed up all the way up to the freeway here. The freeway is actually getting very, very clogged, and that's starting to have a real knock-on effect with the rest of that. So I'm not too sure how we could fix that. So basically what I have done is, it's been such a long time since I've played City Skylines. I've really made a mess of the city. It's certainly not optimal, but I enjoy playing sandbox games, but I always get to a point where after I've played it for a little while, I feel like the challenge part has gone, or I've just messed it up. I mean, obviously this one I have messed up, because it's been so long since I've played, I've forgotten all that I'd learned about doing roads correctly in junctions, and, you know, I didn't really optimise any of it. The whole thing is just one big giant mess, and all of these citizens down here are sick because they're next to the power plant, but there we go. So what I decided to do, when I actually started making this series a couple of weeks ago, it was really just to show off what they had added in the DLC, in the Natural Disasters DLC. I never really intended this to be a long Let's Play. And one of the reasons for that is it's now December, and I've got quite a few different series on the go. And the truth is, I need to get some of them drawn to a conclusion because I'm simply not going to have the time to get everything done over Christmas. I am going to be unavailable to record for a week or so over the Christmas holidays, but I would still like some content to go out because, let's be honest, during the Christmas holidays, people aren't at school, people aren't at work, and some people get bored with the same stuff on the television every year and go and watch stuff on YouTube, and you very often find that people don't put stuff out over Christmas. So this is the reason why I've now started doing videos at weekends, because if you actually have a look, a lot of the really large YouTubers tend to put videos out Monday to Friday and don't put much out at all on the weekends, if they put out anything. And obviously the weekends, fewer people are at school and work, and I've actually noticed I tend to get more subscribers on the weekends now than I do during the week. So I am going to have to get rid of some of my series just over Christmas. So as this was always intended to be a short series, and the idea was to just show off what the DLC had to offer, what we're basically going to do, we've got a bit of a city now, we've got some buildings, we are going to start unleashing disasters on the city. This is going to be the last video in this series. Literally, we're just going to go through and see what we've got. So let's go ahead and have a look at our disasters menu. I like how the landscaping tool now actually shows you the contours. Don't know if it ever really did that before, but that is quite cool. But we're going to go to our disasters menu. Now, some of these we have already seen, so I'm not going to repeat them. We've already had the earthquake, which was the earthquake that tore a big sort of cut through there. We've already had multiple thunderstorms. I'm not really that bothered about forest fires, but I mean, we could go and get a forest fire over here just to see what happens. Let's click on the forest fire. Let's go and start a forest fire right here.
The Forest Service has stated that there is a risk of an imminent forest fire in the area.
And,
Residents
you know,
are
we got
advised
an
to
achievement.
avoid forested areas.
So, there's only one tree on fire at the moment. Is that literally all of our forest fire is? Or is it about to actually get a lot worse? So, we won't be redoing the earthquake. I might do a meteor strike. We did have one previously, which is why we have a big crater down here. But our previous meteor strike didn't actually hit anywhere. Nowhere that was populated. So, we may well go ahead and do one of those manually. But this is going to be just going through and looking at all of the different disasters. We've pretty much looked at all of the buildings that they've added. There aren't really that many buildings that have been added, really. When you think about it, what you've got is you have the helicopter depots for medical, fire and police that they've added in. They've added in the fire watch towers, so it's burnt out already. They've added in the fire watch towers. They've also added in the shelters, the deep space radar, and then you've got the detection things that you've obviously got the radio network, you've got the tsunami buoys and the earthquake sensors and stuff like that. Well, that was rather anticlimactic. Let's go ahead and select that, and this time around, let's
The Forest Service
we have to choose the intensity. There we go. Let's give it a 9 and just sort of do this.
Are advised to avoid forested areas.
So now we've got a
The
forest
Service
fire
has
going.
stated that there is a risk of an imminent forest fire in the area. Residents are advised to avoid forested areas.
So we've actually set off several of them, even with different intensities. Now we do have a fire watch tower there, so hopefully they've spotted the fire, and hopefully we'll start to get some fire service helicopters coming out to deal with that. In fact, just to make sure that we do, let's make sure that we do have a fire service helicopter depot. I'm fairly certain that we did, but let's have another one, because you can never have too many, right? So this should then get some helicopters out, and they should come and deal with these fires. This is going to start spreading quite quickly. Here we go. We can already see we've got a helicopter coming in. There's another one coming in from this side. So our helicopter fire depot must have been over on that side somewhere. Let's just go and put this down to speed 1 for the time being, so we can zoom in and have a proper look at what's happening. So these helicopters are a great way to deal with things that can't be easily reached by road. And so we do have the other helicopter depot that is over here now, so hopefully they'll be coming over to help. Yeah, they do have the helicopters in use. So this forest fire isn't going to last particularly long. Now, where are all the helicopters from here? Maybe they have to go over and get the water first. Where are these helicopters heading? Are they all going over to the lake?
The Forest Service has stated that there is a risk of an imminent forest fire in the area.
Yep, so these
Residents are advised to avoid forested
these
areas.
helicopters are all actually having to go over to the lake.
Has stated that there is a risk of an imminent forest fire in the area. Residents are advised to avoid forested areas.
Now, we do have a fire over here.
Service
Wow.
has stated that there is a risk of an imminent forest fire in the area. Residents are advised to avoid forested areas.
The emergency broadcast is just saying it over and over again. So we've got this one over here, which is actually quite close to our buildings. I don't know whether the fire started in the forest and then spread to the buildings, or whether it started in the buildings and then spread to the forest. I'm not too sure which way around that happened. At least it's quite quick for the helicopters to put this out, because they're very, very close to the river. The actual forest fire itself that we had over here, this looks like it's almost burnt itself out. I've certainly not seen many helicopters coming here. I'm not sure why... Well, there's actually a couple heading that way. I'm not sure why they were prioritising this. Maybe because it was closer to buildings. Maybe because it was just closer to the water. But yeah, we've got a couple of helicopters coming in there. They're going to put out those last couple of fires, so that shouldn't be too bad. They'll get that all put out nicely. There's another one coming in. These fires here will hopefully get dealt with quite quickly. You would think they'd probably concentrate on... I don't know. I don't know how effective a helicopter would be at putting the fire out in the building. And there are fire trucks outside the front of the buildings anyway. So the fires are actually being dealt with, which is a good thing. So that fire should go away. So fire is... oh, the power plant's on fire. That's never good. So fires are something that we've seen before. There's the forest fire now, sort of completely gone. So that's really nothing new. These fires are slowly starting to burn themselves out. Now that we don't have to worry about the forest fires, the helicopters should do a good enough job of getting all this done. So let's go ahead and have a look at some of the other disasters. So we've had the earthquake. We haven't had a sinkhole yet. Now, we have had a meteor. I'm going to go ahead and do another one of these. We've got quite a big one here. Let's go ahead and just drop this right in the middle of the industrial zone. Because I want to see what's going to happen. Because we haven't seen this one yet. I mean, we have. It was a small one. I'm not going to bother evacuating everybody either. Not too concerned about the saving population, because my main concern with the city is we're going to wreck it. But do you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. We will start to evacuate everybody. We don't have enough room to evacuate everybody. We've only got room for about half of our population, but we'll go ahead and do that anyway. Looks like most of the fires have been put out. Of course, when this meteor comes in, there definitely will be a fire. So we can see exactly where it's going to hit. It's going to hit the water as well, so that could certainly cause some issues for us. Now, it doesn't have any of the silly or more silly disasters like you used to get in things like SimCity. There's no UFO attack. There's no sort of Godzilla-type dinosaur attack thing. I'm surprised there isn't one to, like, manually start a riot. I mean, I don't think riots have ever been a thing in City Skylines. Obviously, crime exists, but there are no riots as such. Sounds like we should be seeing this thing anytime soon. I'm not too sure how long it actually takes for a disaster to strike after you get the initial word. I've never really checked. I've never sort of done a countdown for it. So, we'll see what happens. So, not really an awful lot interesting going on in there. It should be starting any time now, though. I could speed things up. Normally the camera will sort of zoom out and focus on whatever's going on. Actually losing a lot of money all of a sudden. Not too sure where all of that is going. Why are we losing a lot of money? What's happening there? Maybe it's because we're not making as much money now because we don't have the oil industry going on, and we actually got rid of a lot of our industry, which again is fine. As I said, here it comes with the sound of things. I can hear it coming in. Here we go. I didn't move the camera there. The camera sort of moves in automatically. That looked a lot smaller than I expected it was going to be.
A meteor strike has occurred. Avoid the impact site and head to shelter if any is available.
So that's done a significant amount of damage there. I mean, that is quite the crater. I mean, look how many buildings it's destroyed, and all of these things are now going to be without water because the pipes have been cut off and everything. So these fires are going to get put out. Now then, what else could we go and trigger off? We've got the tsunami I want to have a look at. Building fires, nah, we've kind of seen them. Building collapses we haven't seen. What if we had a building collapse over here somewhere? Do you just get like a random building collapse? So we've got a building collapse selected there. There we go. The buildings just randomly collapse as a fire helicopter comes through. So there's nothing particularly special about a building collapse, really. I mean, obviously it's a lot of debris and stuff on the road that needs clearing up, but that's not really such an amazing thing to see. These guys are really going to have their work cut out putting those fires out. So let's go ahead and see what else we've got. We've got the tsunami, we've got the lightning strike. We haven't had a look at a sinkhole yet. Let's go ahead and get rid of the rest of the industrial zone. Let's see how long it takes for that sinkhole to open.
Predict that a sinkhole could strike at any minute. Residents should take precautionary measures.
Because I just want to basically see how all of these different disasters work. This is what you guys wanted to see. Anyone that wants to see the Natural Disasters DLC, you want to see what the disasters are. I just wanted to build up a little... I hadn't got any of my older saves from when I played before, so I had to build up a city just so I had something to destroy. Of course, I could have borrowed one from a friend or something like that, but yeah, I just thought it would be fun. This is why I wasn't really being too optimal with the building of the city. I literally wanted to just go ahead and get something built. Sounds like the sinkhole might be starting. I'm hearing noise. Or that might be just more buildings collapsing from all of the fires down here. Some of these buildings will need to be rebuilt. But yeah, we've still got a lot of fire going on. Some of the public transport's being cut off. I'm still not too sure why all this traffic's trying to come down here. It's not like they can actually reach anywhere at the moment. Yeah, so some of these buildings are starting to collapse because the fire is still spreading. Now, it is raining. I haven't worked out whether or not the rain actually douses the fires more quickly or not yet. I was kind of hoping it would, but I'm not 100% sure. Most of the fire is going out, though. That sinkhole is certainly taking its time. It's not going to be the hugest of sinkholes. The sinkholes are relatively small in comparison to the sort of damage you get from something like a meteor impact or a lightning strike. Mind you, again, the thunderstorms don't tend to do damage to a large area. They tend to do damage to lots of small buildings over a large area. But we're still waiting on that sinkhole. And then we've only really got two things left to try, which is the tornado and the tsunami. So we'd like to see how both of those go. Again, I'm hoping the sinkhole actually opens up before all of these buildings just get destroyed by the spreading fire damage. Here we go. And I'm just getting loads of achievements for doing this as well.
A sinkhole has occurred somewhere in the city. Stay out of harm's way and contact authorities with any information.
So even though that sinkhole was a like 9.1 or something, it's quite deep, but even though that sinkhole was like a 9.1, it's still not exactly a very large hole. So let's go ahead and try something else then. We have... so we've done the Meteor, we haven't done the Tsunami yet, which we definitely will. We've seen building fires before, we've done a building collapse, we've seen the forest fire, we've seen a thunderstorm, we've done the sinkhole, we've seen an earthquake. So let's go ahead and start with the tornado. Let's go ahead and start right over here on this corner.
Meteorologists have issued a severe
Now there is actually a
for the area.
cooldown limit on
Residents
these as
should
well.
Seek shelter immediately if any is available.
So this, do you know what? This is the reason why we're losing money. I don't think it's just because we've actually got all of the industry used up. I think it's because we actually had people in the shelters. And the shelters cost you money, I believe. And also, while people are in the shelters, they're not running the industry and the factories and things like that. So that's probably the reason why... Yeah, because now I've released the shelters. Look, we're already... Well, we're not making money, but we're not losing as much as we were. So that's probably what it is. While everybody... Yeah, there we go. Now we're making money. So that's something to keep in mind. While you've got people all in the shelters, they're not paying their taxes. They're not working in the industry. And therefore, the city's not going to be making much in the way of money. We see the helicopters landing down here at the sort of fire helicopter depot. I do like that they've added these buildings. I mean, that was one of the main issues that City Skylines always used to have, which is whenever you needed to get the fire service to a building that was burning down, sometimes they couldn't get there because it was just gridlock. But I'm not really convinced that the helicopters actually put out fires on buildings. They may literally just be for forest fires. But, I mean, it is certainly a good idea to be able to get around. Again, I've seen the Medivac picking people up, so I can only assume that they can service that sort of thing. You'll notice we've got some broken transport lines around here. These will be the metro stations because, obviously, the either the Meteor strike or the sinkhole actually destroyed one of the metro connections. So, we've just got to wait for this tornado to come through. That's going to be quite a big one, actually. I had it on that 9.1 intensity still. That didn't really leave... it's not going to leave a lot of the city left for the tsunami to deal with. So we could probably go ahead and just queue the tsunami up. So let's go ahead and pick a tsunami, and let's get the tsunami to come in over here, actually. Well, here comes the tornado.
A tornado has touched down in the area. Seek shelter immediately if any is available. Meteorologists are issuing a thunderstorm warning for the coming days. Citizens are advised to stay indoors.
And now there's a coming thunderstorm. I did not start that thunderstorm off. That thunderstorm is one that is sort of coming in automatically. Yeah, look, we're making, even though we've got next to no industry, we're still making like 20,000 a week now. Now, is that tornado actually going to move anywhere? Because at the moment, it's kind of just sitting there, really. It's not doing an awful lot. I wish I could sort of pan up a little bit more to look at that, but it's quite an impressive thing to look at there. Looks like it is. No, things are starting to get lifted up. It is moving towards the buildings. Did I have to set a path for it? Because it's literally just sitting in one spot. I mean, everything here is in danger, apparently. Yeah, it's definitely picking stuff up now. Look at that. There are vehicles getting sucked up into the air. There are houses getting destroyed. Here comes the thunderstorm, or is that thunderstorm part of the tornado? What's happening to all of these cars and things that are getting sucked up? No, they are getting spat out. Most of them are landing in the river. But that, I mean, it looks really good. I've got to say that for it. I mean, it's an amazing effect what they've done there. And people's cars and things are just being spat down and randomly deposited on the ground. So we've already lost a fair few buildings over here. But like I said, I was trying to get that tsunami on the go as well. So let's go ahead and click the tsunami. And we want to try and get this tsunami sort of over here if we can. Apparently we have got it selected. It reset the cooldown for it, so I'm expecting the tsunami to come. Again, no warning about it at the moment. Do we have a tsunami warning buoy? Did we even get one of those? Let's go and check and see if we had one. I thought we did. Yeah, we've got one over there. Maybe you actually have to have it on the sea itself, which is quite the possibility. Still on cooldown for it. It's only on 53%, so we'll Tornado's pretty much moved away now. It's moving away from the city, but it's done a fair amount of damage there.
A tornado has touched down in the area. Seek shelter immediately if any is available.
Well, the tornado's
Meteorologists are issuing a thunderstorm
kind of on its way off now.
Days. Citizens are advised to stay indoors.
I wonder if the tornado can and will actually destroy parts of the pre-existing rail lines and highways. I mean, I guess they can, because you can manually demolish them. It looks absolutely fantastic when the lightning strikes as well. It's dissipated now. Not too sure how easy that was to see with it being at night time in the game, but... So, still no warning about a tsunami, so I've obviously messed that one up. We are at... Looks like we're done. So let's go ahead and try and get this in the sea. Again, we seem to have triggered it, but let's see what it says. A wave is created in the sea and travels towards the city. The severity controls the height of the wave, and depending on the map, it can take quite a long time for the tsunami effect to be seen. The tsunami has no location. Right, so essentially it doesn't really matter where you click it. You just basically click tsunami and one arrives. Now, is this because we don't really have a sea? I mean, what are these? Are these lakes? I mean, obviously we've got rivers, so the rivers must be connected to the sea somewhere. So I'm really surprised that the I can't trigger the tsunami. I mean, it looks like we're at it. See, I can see boats over there in the distance. Oh, there's a cargo ship. So, as there are cargo ships out here, there must be sea. So, if that's the case, why can't we get a tsunami to trigger? Maybe because there was another disaster going on at the same time. We've still got this incoming thunderstorm. See, every time I click it, it resets the cooldown. But I haven't seen the achievement pop up for it to say that it's coming in. So, maybe... I don't know, maybe there's a reason why that isn't working, but for some reason it isn't. But, with the exception of the tsunami, I have now shown you guys pretty much all of the disasters that you can expect to see in this game. Now, there were three things that were added, really. One thing I haven't covered, which is the scenarios, which basically allows you to create your own scenarios and share them with people, like sort of a challenge mode, almost. There's the radio.
Meteorologists are issuing a thunderstorm.
Yeah, we know about the thunderstorm.
Citizens are advised to stay indoors.
There's the radio system that we've already gone through.
A thunderstorm warning for the coming days. Citizens are advised to stay indoors.
I'm still trying to talk over this woman. And the radios and the scenarios were both added as part of a free patch. So even if you don't get the DLC, you still get the scenario editor, you still get the radio stations. There are a couple of radio stations that they've already released as paid DLC. So that's obviously their reasoning behind that. You know, release the update for free so you can have radio stations and then sell you additional radio stations. Fair enough. But then all of the natural disaster stuff, that is part of the paid DLC. So that includes the disasters themselves, but it also includes the additional buildings for dealing with them. So the small and large shelters, the disaster response unit, the deep space radar, the radio towers to communicate the warnings around, the tsunami buoys, the earthquake sensors, the fire watch towers, which we've got there, and then the other buildings they've added. So basically the medical, the fire, and the, what was the other one? Fire, medical, there's police one as well. The helicopter depots, they've all been added with that. I'm not 100% certain. Could have been in a previous DLC. Like I said, it's been a while since I played it, but I think this one, I think the road maintenance depot is added in this DLC as well. The DLC is currently on Steam. I think it's about $15. It is out now, and in the UK it's about, I think it's £10 or something like that. As usual with Paradox games, not entirely convinced that the DLC is all that worth the money. It's certainly a nice addition, but when you consider that quite a lot of games of this type, and by this type I mean sort of sandbox city builders, of which there are only a few decent ones, but most of them have some sort of disaster mechanic in there out of the box. So you're essentially expected to pay £10, $15 to add functionality to a game to kind of bring it on par with some of the others. That said, I still think Cities Skylines is one of the best city builder games out there. The free patch, by the way, also includes an update to the game engine because it uses a newer version of Unity, so you should see some performance improvements with it as well. But yeah, I mean, certainly...
Meteorologists are issuing
There's the radio announcer sort of talking over me again. Certainly it might be worth getting it if you are really into your city builders. If you love Skylines and spend a lot of hours on it, then you'll probably find it worth every penny. If you're more of a casual player like I am, then you might want to wait for it to come down a little bit in the sale. That said, I think Colossal Order do an amazing job with City Skylines, and you know, maybe you just want to buy the DLC at full price to support them and the continued development of the game. And I'm looking forward to seeing what else comes out of Colossal Order in the future as well, because if they can do this much with Unity, I'd certainly like to see them do some games in the future using a more powerful engine like either Unreal or maybe their own custom engine, and see what they're capable of doing further down the line. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. This has been City Skylines with the Natural Disasters DLC. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, goodbye for now.